Hello everybody, this is the first video for week 1. I will begin by talking to you about the class itself, the grading, the book we will use, and information about homework and classwork. After that, we will study Unit 1. So let's begin by looking at the class introduction. So, class introduction. We will start by talking about me. Do you remember me from last semester or from last year? My name is Andrew Horton. You can call me Mr. Horton. I have a Gmail address that I will use for Google Drive if I'm sharing documents, or for YouTube and for emails. I will also use the Beihua email. My email address is here, another ndh@beihua.ac.kr. That will also be the email I use for Zoom. If and when we have Zoom classes, that is the ID that I will be using to log in. Okay, so that is my information. We will also be using a website called Flipgrid, flipgrid.com. There will be a link on the Beihua e-learning site when we do use this, and we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so if you need to contact me, you can message me with Gmail. You can message me at the Beihua email, but I would say that it would be faster to use Gmail. The Beihua learning site also has messages, so you could use that too. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. Let's have a look at the assessment. So the standard assessment for Beihua is attendance is 20%. We have a midterm test in week 8, which is 30%. You have a final test, which is week 16 or 15. I'm not sure if we're having a Bogangju this semester, but at the end of the semester, there's a final test. And there is extra Gita 20%. And we'll look at all those things in more detail now. So attendance is exactly what it says. We will be having online classes. We will be doing these video lectures, and there is plans to be doing Zoom classes. So however that works, your job is to log in, to attend through the digital service, or be logged into the Zoom class. But the total is 20%. Next, the midterm test. So, spoiler alert, midterm and final will follow the same structure. So, there are 3 parts. First, there will be a speaking test. So, it's not clear yet whether the speaking test will be done face-to-face. Originally, there was a plan to have tests in the classroom. So far, it looks like we will be doing online tests, so they will be a one-to-one Zoom speaking test, probably. But this can all change. There should be a huge asterisk on all this information because anything can change. But so far, there will be a speaking test. And there will be a multiple choice quiz. The quiz will be online. It's worth 10%. There will be 10 questions. And it will work like this. There will be a question, for example, what is his job? A, I like pizza. B, he is a doctor. C, no wongu, Seoul. So what is the answer? The answer is B, he's a doctor, right? Multiple choice quiz. That's what that is. The final part, the final 5%, mini quiz. So there is a star there, an asterisk, because the mini quiz you will do during the semester. But it's worth 5% of your midterm total score. We'll talk more about the mini quiz after this. The final test is the same, a speaking test worth 15%, a multiple choice quiz worth 10%, and again, mini quizzes that are worth 5%. Finally, we have the extra 20%, and this will be video homework, and that is 20%. So let's have a look at the quiz and video homework in a little bit more detail. So the video homework is worth 20%. That's a lot. It's the same as your attendance. So how will you get the best score? There will be 10 videos. You will record 10 videos. Okay? So you will do 5 videos before the midterm test, and you will do 5 videos before the final test. So there'll be no video homework this week. It's the first week. I will set you a kind of challenge or a mission to help you get familiar with how to do the video homework. There's no score, there's no fail. It's just to help you understand the system. But we will start video homework next week. So the plan is week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6. 5 videos. And then week 7 is review. Week 8 is your midterm test. After the midterm, we start again. Week 9, week 10, week 11, week 12, and week 13, another 5 video homeworks. Week 14 will be review, and then you'll have your final test. So there are 3 rules to a successful video homework. First, ask or answer every question that I give to you. So usually the way it will work, you will watch the online lecture. Every week there will be an online video from me. At the end of that video, there will be a link to the homework video. I will pose to you some questions, or I will ask you to ask me some questions, because you need to practice both asking and answering. So watch that video carefully and ask or answer every question. The second rule is to practice before you record. As you see, not reading. Okay, so the goal here is to practice what you want to say and then record the video. And the third rule is to upload the video homework before the next class. So as we will be studying with an online lecture, then you will have a homework video. The best thing to do is to finish your homework video before the next online class. Otherwise, you might get confused about what we studied. Okay, so those are the 3 rules. So as it's 20%, you can say that one video is worth 2%. Total will be 20%. Okay. We can talk about this again. If you have any questions, you can message me through the e-learning site. You can send me an email. If you do use Gmail, there's also a messaging service, Google Duo. That would also work with my Gmail ID. Let's continue. This is a completion score. So what that means is if you follow the 3 rules, and upload the video, you will get the 2%. But if you upload nothing, then you will get 0. Okay? So every video you miss could mean losing 2%. So try to record your video every week. Just do your best. There's no pressure. It's just practice. But if you upload your video, you'll get your 2% every week. And the total will be 20%. One last thing about the video homework. As I mentioned earlier, flipgrid.com / will be a link to the video that I show you. So all the links for the videos, even this video you're watching now, will be on the Beihua e-learning site. So first I will upload this video, the study video. Then I will upload a link to the homework video. All links will be on the e-learning site. But the website, if you're curious, if you'd like to log in or create a profile, you can go to flipgrid.com, and that is what I will use for homework. Okay. I would also recommend at this point that you do have a Gmail ID. It makes things a little bit easier. Flipgrid.com does use Microsoft email addresses. I don't know if you have that, but Gmail is probably the easiest way to go. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at the quiz. So the mini quiz, you will do 2 mini quizzes before the midterm and 2 mini quizzes after the midterm. So 2 mini quizzes. This plan can always change. We have Chuseok holiday coming up. We have other holidays during the semester, so things can change. But the original plan is, in week 3, you will have a mini quiz, and in week 7, you will have a mini quiz. This will help you review before you do the bigger quiz for your midterm test, and that's 5%. And again, another 2 mini quizzes in week 11 and week 14. These will help you get ready for your final test, and that is 5% again. Each quiz will have 5 questions, and they will be from what we have studied in the weeks before. So, for example, in your week 3 mini quiz, the questions will be from Unit 1, 2, and 3. In week 7, you will have questions from Unit 4, 5, and 6. Of course, all this information will be given to you in the weekly study lecture video. All right. I know this is a lot of information, but I will remind you every week, is it a video homework? Is it a quiz homework? All of the information will be given to you. Okay, so that covers the assessment for this class. How about the book we will be using? Business Venture Beginner, the student book. It is a lovely red color, as you can see. This is the book. All right, I have the book. Hopefully you will be buying the book. As I make the online lecture videos, I will be showing you what you see in the book too. And I will do my best to give you examples and to play the audio and give you further conversation examples that you can practice. Okay, the book does come with a CD. You can listen to the practice audio as much as you like, but all material in the book will be used in the test. Or should I say, all the test material will come from the book. Okay. All right, wonderful. So that is the class. That is what we are studying. That is how I will assess you. It's time to start Unit 1. As it shows, don't forget to buy the student book. Some students buy the workbook and they realize that they have to go back to the bookstore and get another book. The workbook is wrong. It should say student book. Student book. Okay. Make sure inside the book there are color pictures. The workbook is black and white, and it's mainly writing activities. Wonderful. So that is all the information you need for the assessment and the material we will use. Let's start Unit 1. We are starting Business Venture Beginner. Do you have your books ready to follow along? All right. So, before we begin, I thought we could watch a little video together that will set the scene for what we will be talking about today. I have 3 questions I would like you to think about while we are watching this. They are: who is he? Where is he? And what is he doing? So let's have a look at this video. Correct, exactly. These days it's old comic show about a man called Mr. Bean who would get himself into all kinds of situations. So where is he? If you said he's at a hotel, you are right. Yes, he is in a hotel. He is arriving at a hotel. And what is he doing? He is checking in. That is correct. So that brings us to the topic of this week, which is on page 4, Unit 1, checking in. We are talking all about checking in. We will have examples of people checking in. We will talk about the information that people use when they check in. We will look at companies. We will look at your information and spelling and all kinds of different questions and answers. Let's have a look at our first activity. On page 4, we have a listening activity. So we will listen and we will hear 2 conversations, as we can see. Conversation 1, we have a name and company. And in conversation 2, we have a name and a company. You have 2 choices. For conversation 1, for the name, you have Amy Gibson or Amanda Gibson. Amy Gibson or Amanda Gibson. For the company, you have IBM or NEC. That's IBM or NEC. For conversation 2, we have the name Nathan Welsh or Nathan Woods. One more time, that's Nathan Welsh or Nathan Woods. A lot of students have a little bit of trouble with the w sound, like they say like Nathan Elsh or Nathan Woods. So, imagine you are blowing out candles on a birthday cake. Woods. Welsh. Nathan Welsh. Nathan Woods. And what about the company? We have Apple and we have Dell. That's Apple and Dell. All right, let's listen. And as you are listening, check if it is Amy Gibson or Amanda Gibson, IBM or NEC, and then Nathan Welsh or Nathan Woods, Apple or Dell.
Track 2, Module 1.1, Conversation 1.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name's Gibson, Amanda Gibson. I'm with NEC.
Just a moment, please. Yes, Ms. Gibson. Here's your name tag.
Thanks.
Conversation 2.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Nathan Welsh. That's Welsh. I'm with Dell.
Ah, yes, Mr. Welsh. Here's your name tag and conference bag.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we've listened, let's have a look at the answers. To help us answer the questions, let's have some questions. So for the name, the question is, what's her name? Or, what's his name? The answer, her name is bididit, or his name is bididit. For the company, what's her company's name? Or what's his company's name? The answer, her company's name is, his company's name is. So for the conversation 1, what's her name? Number 1 is female. What's her name? The answer, her name is Amanda Gibson. Well done if you got that. Her name is Amanda Gibson. The second question, what's her company's name? Her company's name is NEC. Well done if you got that too. So her name is Amanda Gibson and her company's name is NEC. How about the second conversation? What's his name? Conversation 2 is a male. What's his name? The answer? His name is Nathan Welsh. Welsh, like the nationality of Wales. Nathan Welsh. And how about the company? What's his company's name? His company's name is Dell. His company's name is Dell. Well done if you got all those correct. We will now listen again. So staying on page 4, we have a second listening. This time, you are listening for these expressions. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name's, and I'm, followed by a name. Thank you and thanks. Thank you, thanks. So as you listen to conversation 1, when you hear the expression, you can check, and then we'll listen to conversation 2 again, and as you're listening, you can check what you hear. All right, let's listen.
Track 2, Module 1.1, Conversation 1.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name's Gibson, Amanda Gibson. I'm with NEC.
Just a moment, please. Yes, Ms. Gibson. Here's your name tag.
Thanks.
Conversation 2.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Nathan Welsh. That's Welsh. I'm with Dell.
Ah, yes, Mr. Welsh. Here's your name tag and conference bag.
Thank you.
Very good. Let's have a look at the answers. So in conversation 1, we heard good afternoon. That's right. So Amanda Gibson's Situation is in the afternoon. What else do we hear? My name's Amanda Gibson. My name's Amanda Gibson. And thanks. We heard thanks. So that means in conversation 2, Nathan's checking in situation was in the morning. Good morning. I'm Nathan Welsh. I'm Nathan Welsh. And thank you. Thank you. Those are the expressions we heard in those conversations. So that is a warm-up for the idea of checking in, giving your name, maybe using your company name too. We'll look at some more examples later in this unit. Let's move on to page 5. Page 5, we are looking at greetings. As we saw, or should I say as we heard in the first listening example, good morning, good afternoon, they are greetings. Your book gives you this picture. As you can see, there are 3 sections. This represents time. And then they all mean hello. So we have good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And they all mean hello. So if we were having classroom classes in person, sometimes I might greet you with good morning, students. Depending on the time, I might also say good afternoon, students. But I don't think you would ever hear me say good evening, students. Why not? Well, we have different times for using these. So when do we say good morning? We say good morning in the morning. That's right, a.m. When does a.m. finish? Well, as you can see here, the line is at noon. 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 What is noon? Noon in English means 12 o'clock, midday. So as I'm sure you know, there are 2 12 o'clocks. One of them is noon, midday, meaning daytime noon, the middle of the day. The other one is at midnight, when it is nighttime. So good morning is until 12 o'clock. Maybe we should say 11:59. And then we have good afternoon. Good afternoon. Afternoon. I got it. So after 12 o'clock, meaning noon, we say good afternoon. So good afternoon starts at 12:01 p.m. When does afternoon finish? Well, the book suggests 5 p.m. However, I feel like, things in life are never that black and white, right? So for me, the afternoon finishes when work ends. Right. So in Beihua, the last class for daytime students is 5:50, 6 p.m. So I feel like really the afternoon finishes at 6 p.m. I go home in the evening. So after 6 p.m., I would say good evening. If I met somebody, maybe on the subway going home, good evening. How are you? But again, it's not black and white. Think about another idea is sunrise and sunset. So when the sun is going down, I feel like evening is starting. So around that time. And in winter, the sun goes down much earlier. So even 4:30 might be the end of the afternoon. In summer, the sun sets much later, almost 8:30, 9 p.m. So when does evening start? I would say between 5 and 7, you're safe. However you feel. If you want to say good afternoon at 6 p.m., no problem. Nobody will be upset. If you want to say good evening at 5:30, perfectly okay. There is that window between evening and afternoon, or afternoon and evening. Yes, don't worry about that. There's no fixed line. However, morning finishes at 12 o'clock. That's AM changing to PM. All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. They all mean hello. So what about maybe you've heard good night? Well, as you can see, there's a little note. Good night means goodbye. That's right. So does that mean if our class finishes at 1 p.m., I could say, good night, everybody? No, of course not. So good night is used to mean goodbye, bye-bye, but we only say it at night or after the evening. So when it's nighttime, when the sun is down, and it's time to say goodbye, you can also say good night. Of course, we also say good night at bedtime, but that's not goodbye. That's ciao ciao, right? Sleep well. Okay, so for greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you want to say goodbye at nighttime, you can say good night. Excellent. Okay. Now let's move on to talk about names. Names. Why are we talking about names? Well, there's partly a cultural reason. So, let's have a look at some examples. I will show you four famous people. The first are a couple. We have Brad Pitt, or Pitt Brad. What should we say? Is it Pitt Brad or Brad Pitt? And Angelina Jolie or Jolie Angelina? Okay. You might be thinking, I know what it is, Mr. Horton, but bear with me. Next we have Jackson Michael. No? Michael Jackson? Okay. And the last one, Kim Yona. What? Yona Kim, maybe? Interesting. So, basically, it comes down to your culture. On the right, you know who she is. One of the most famous modern Korean people. In England, or in the West, in English-speaking countries, she's called Yona Kim. That's right. But many people in Korea would call her Kim Yona because of the Korean naming convention system. I'm assuming that with pop culture, the internet, you know that they are Western people and they are mostly known by their Western names, meaning Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Michael Jackson. So, in Korea and in the West, the names are structured a little bit differently. Let's have a look at one more person. Let's have a look at this video of a pretty famous character, actually my favorite character, introducing himself.
My name is Bond.
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 James Bond.
Does he look familiar to you? There are many actors who have played this character, but he always introduces himself in the same way as we saw in the video. This gentleman, 007, Gong Gong Chil, his name is James Bond, but he usually introduces himself as Bond, James Bond. interesting way to introduce yourself. Let's have a look at the people in the book. So we have the First Lady. She says, "My name's Okada. Mayumi Okada." My name's Okada. Mayumi Okada. Then we have the gentleman. "My name is Chang. Edward Chang." So what are their names? Her name is Okada? Or her name is Mayumi? Well, they are both her names, but it's getting a little bit confusing, right? We need some labels, some way to say, what are we talking about? Well, the book shows you this table, right? It says, so full name, and there are two parts, given / first name, and family name. I think this is a little bit confusing, especially the first name. In Korea, like we talked about with Kim Yona Kim, which name is first? Well, in Korea, your first name would be Kim, or her first name would be Kim. And then the next name, should we say second name, would be Yona. Kim Yona. But in England, her first name would be Yona, and her second name would be Kim. So if I asked you, what's your first name, you might get a little bit confused. Does Mr. Horton mean the English system? Or does he mean the Korean system? Should I say Che, Park, Lee? What should I say? So, to make things a little bit clearer, I will be using given name and family name. Given name, this, and family name. No first and second, because that's cultural. But given is the same wherever you are. Your given name is the name that your mother and father gave you. So, her given name is Mayumi. Her mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, the wise man on the mountain said, Mayumi. That's right. And her family name is Okada. So wherever she is in the world, her given name will always be Mayumi, and her family name will always be Okada. Same with the gentleman. His given name is Edward, and his family name is Chang. So how about me? Where would I put my name, Andrew Horton? Well, my given name is Andrew. That is the name that my mother and father chose for me. And my family name is Horton. That is why you call me Mr. Horton, or Horton teacher, or Horton professor, because Horton is my family name. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. All right, so we should now talk about how to spell our names. First, before we talk about spelling of names, let's look at the alphabet. So at the top of page 6, there is the alphabet, and there are some missing letters. So, how does the alphabet go? Try to remember. Starts with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Z? Surely Z? Well, now we get into British English and American English. So in the UK, or countries that use British English, which could be Canada, some places in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Some other countries as well, they would say Z. Whereas American English, they would use Z. Okay. I'm sure you would really like to hear the alphabet song. You're singing it in your head right now, probably. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABC. Next time, won't you sing with me? You're welcome. Okay. So now we have the alphabet. We're going to use this for company names first. So, on page 6, you can see those company logos, those names, and you are going to do some information searching. So, I recommend using English because they are all, well, not all English companies, but their names pretty much use English. So one way of doing it could be to change your search engine to, for example, Google. Okay. One thing I have done before is google.co.uk and then choosing to have English. Sometimes if you go to google.com, it will change to your region, which is Korea, if you are here in Korea. So .co.uk might get you English results. Using google.co.uk will give you the English name as opposed to the Hangul name, which probably is very similar, but we are here to practice English, and now it's English spelling. Something to help you search instead of just the 3 letters or 4 letters is to type in the letters plus WIKI. Maybe you are familiar with Wikipedia. So if you type in, for example, BMW Wiki, WIKI, one of the first links should be the BMW Wikipedia page, and that will tell you the company name, what it stands for, B, M, and W, and some other information. So your main goal is to find out what the letters stand for. Let's have a look at an example. So this is the question, what does KFC stand for? KFC stands for... Do you know what KFC stands for? Well, if you search, you will find out that KFC, what does KFC stand for? KFC stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's right. Not Korea Fried Chicken. Not Korea-friendly chicken. But Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, there could be another company in, for example, Korea that uses the same letters, but part of it is the color and the font. Right? This particular style of KFC is one company. So some of these, for example, I'm not going to tell you which one, but some of them do have a standard meaning, which is different from the company. So be careful, match the logo, right? Make sure you're looking at company information, not a product or another brand that is maybe not so famous. So look at the style of the logo. Okay. These are all big companies, very big companies. Okay. So now is the time to pause the video. Go ahead and look for ANA, HSBC, BMW, LG, UPS, OUP, JVC, BBC, and CNN. What does BDDIT stand for? BDDIT stands for... Okay. So let's have a look at the answers. We start with ANA. What does ANA stand for? ANA stands for All Nippon Airways. They are a Japanese airline company. ANA. Are they still a famous company? I'm not sure. I've actually never flown on a Japanese airline. There we go. Next, HSBC. So, excuse me. So the question is, what does HSBC stand for? Do you know the answer? HSBC stands for Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. Usually in this kind of name, the "and" is not included in the acronym HASBC. No, just HSBC. Yes, the "and" is omitted. Words like and of are not included in the name, the acronym HSBC, Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. Next, we have BMW. So this one is the first that is not actually an English name natively. What does BMW stand for? BMW stands for... That's right, exactly what I said. Bayerische Motorenwache. That is my probably terrible German pronunciation. It is a German company. So what it roughly stands for in English translation would be Bavarian Engine Works, or Bavarian Motor, because that fits the acronym BMW. Bavarian Motor Works, Bavarian Engine Works. So Bavarian is a common adjective used in English to describe German. So for example, Bavarian beer, Bavarian sausage, Bavarian car company, Bavarian Motor Works, BMW. Okay, how about LG? I'm sure you all know the answer to this one. Again, as it's a Korean company, there is some debate over what LG stands for. Let's have a look. What does LG stand for? Okay, so one of the answers is Lucky Gold Star. LG stands for Lucky Gold Star. So there is some debate whether this is still true. For what I've read online, the research, Wikipedia, etc., is that these companies, Lucky, plastics company, and Gold Star, an electronics company, merged, and they became LG. So people call them Lucky Gold Star. However, there is also the slogan, Life's Good. So, does LG stand for Life's Good? Well, again, debate. Yes, no? Some people say it's only a slogan, and the slogan matches the letters L and G. So you could say that LG actually stands for nothing. It's just the name. LG is the name. There is no meaning behind it anymore. Just LG is LG. Or in the past, it was Lucky Gold Star. Some people might say it's Life's Good. So, a little bit complicated, but don't worry about it. How about UPS? What does UPS stand for? So this one is probably the main one that could have a confusing answer. Mainly because UPS stands for Universal Power Supply, which is the cord that plugs into many things like a radio, maybe a monitor, maybe your battery charger, there is a standard of power supply, and it's called UPS. However, that is not a company. That is a device or accessory. So the company using this logo, UPS, stands for United Parcel Service, which is a parcel delivery company like FedEx or DHL, Hanjin Tekbei, right? It's a Tekbei company, parcel, meaning box, package delivery, parcel delivery, United Parcel Service. Okay, what's next? OUP. What does OUP stand for? Well, this one is very close to us because the book that we are using, right, is made by Oxford University Press. So, OUP stands for Oxford University Press. The web address, is it going to focus? OUP.com. Oxford University Press. I know, shocking, surprising, right? Yes, OUP stands for Oxford University Press. Next, JVC. What does JVC stand for? JVC stands for Japan's Victor Company. And depending on the answers you read, you might have also seen it stands for Japan's Company Victor of Japan, I think is one of the answers. But that doesn't match the acronym. So again, Japanese native language translated into English and then company branding, it can change. But yes, the J stands for Japan, the V stands for Victor, and C stands for company. So Japan's Victor Company. There we go. Next, a company that is very close to me. What does BBC stand for? Do you watch Sherlock? Then maybe you know BBC. Yes, BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation. They are one of the largest or the major UK's television networks. They produce a lot of famous television shows, including Sherlock, a lot of nature programs, Planet Earth, for example. Yes, a lot of great shows to watch on there. And then the last one is CNN. What does CNN stand for? This is an American company. CNN stands for Cable News Network. That's correct. So one of the largest, is it the largest? Or anyway, it's a very large American news network, TV news corporation. CNN, Cable News Network. Very good. So, I'm sure you can think of some other acronyms. How about BHC? Do you know BHC chicken? I heard it stands for Better, Happier Chicken. Is that true? How about FBI? Federal Bureau of Investigation. Stay American. NYPD. Do you know them? The New York Police Department. One more. CSI. Do you watch that show? Crime Scene Investigation or Investigator. Yes, CSI. Okay, so we've used the alphabet. We've talked about some companies. How about talking about your name? So, on page 7, we have this mini conversation. Okay, it goes like this. Could you tell me your name, please? Hopper. James Hopper. Could you spell that, please? Hopper. Thank you. Okay. How about if we had that conversation with my name? It would look like this. Could you tell me your name, please? Horton. Andrew Horton. Could you spell that, please? Houghton. Thank you. Okay, so this is a common exchange when you are checking in or any situation where you do have to give your name. You might be wondering why, as we learned earlier with Mr. Bond, James Bond, why is the family name so important? We give the family name first, then we say our given name and repeat our family name. In the spelling, we spell only the family name. Why don't we spell the given name? Well, this comes down to the familiarity of given names. There are many Andrews. There are many Jameses. English girls' names, Sally, Amy, Jane. They are very common. They are familiar. There are not usually different spellings. Sometimes, right? Sometimes there are different spellings, but generally native English speakers, they are familiar with given names. Family names, however, can have many different spellings, same pronunciation. My name, Horton. Does it look like Horton? Houg. Some people say Houghton. Some people say Houghton. My pronunciation from my family is Horton. But if you're familiar with a Canadian coffee company, Tim Hortons, you would know that the spelling is Horton. But that's not my spelling. It's Houghton. So, if I had a reservation, for example, at a hotel, and I'm checking in, it would be important for me to spell Houghton, not Horton, because they are two different people. I am not Andrew Horton with an R. I'm Andrew Horton with a GH. So in English-speaking systems, the family name gets a lot of priority. So we repeat the family name, we spell the family name. That is why the conversation looks like this. So I'm sure right now you are pausing the video and practicing this conversation with your name. Okay. For example, Kim Yona would be, could you tell me your name, please? Kim. Yona Kim. Could you spell that, please? Kim. Thank you. There's just an example for you. In the book, it gives you the table. I've changed it from first name, it's just given name, because I think that is, again, as I said before, saying first is confusing for cultural reasons. So given name and family name. If you are studying with friends, you could practice this. If you want to practice with your family members, or you just want to role play using some famous names that you know, you can fill in this table with 3 more people. To extend the practice a little bit more, we should practice spelling both our given name and our family name. Here are some questions. Could you tell me your name, please? Could you spell your given name, please? Could you spell your family name, please? And as bonus questions, because sometimes people talk a little bit too fast and you can't understand what they're saying, you might need to ask people to repeat what they say or even speak slower. So you could say, could you repeat that, please? Could you speak slower, please? Would you like to hear an example? Again, I will use my name. Could you tell me your name, please? Horton and Jordan. Could you repeat that, please? Horton and Jordan. Could you speak slower, please? Horton. Andrew Horton. Okay. Could you spell your given name, please? A-N-D-R-E-W. Could you speak slower, please? A-N-D-R-E-W. Could you spell your family name, please? H-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? Sure. H-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. Thank you. And you can practice that 3 times. The repeating and the speaking slower, it's just good to memorize those questions. A lot of native speakers, or even just people from other countries speaking English, it's not always easy to hear what they're saying. So repeating, speaking slower, don't be scared to use those questions. They can make your life a lot easier. Okay, so good luck with that activity. When you're ready, let's move on to page 7. We are now looking at reservations. So reservations also require, like checking in, well, checking in happens after the reservation. You make a reservation first, and then you check in. Okay, so we are using our information from the reservation to check in. So, on the page, you will see 3 pictures. I will show them now. So, before we listen, let's find out what each picture is. So, we have an airport check-in counter, a restaurant, and a car rental office. So, which is A? A, I think, is, do you know? It is an airport check-in counter. There's the departure information behind them. There's tickets and passports being handed. Okay, how about B? Well, there is a big hint in the picture. The word car. I can even see the word rent. It is a car rental office. And finally, C is a restaurant. They are at a table. They are, well, there is a waiter handing a menu. Okay. So, as we listen, you first want to number so you know which conversation is number 1, which conversation is number 2, and which conversation is number 3. So we first want to number the conversations. Okay, let's have a listen.
Track 8. Module 1.7. Conversation 1.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
I reserved a car for 5 days. My name is Yamada.
I'm sorry. How do you spell that?
Y-A-M-A-D-A.
Yes, that's fine, Mr. Yamada. May I see your driver's license, please?
Yes, here it is.
Conversation 2.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I have a reservation on flight X302 to Paris.
May I have your name, please?
Fratelli. Elsa Fratelli.
Is that F-R-A-T-E-L-L-I?
Yes, that's right.
Fine. May I see your passport and ticket, please?
Here you are.
Conversation 3.
Good evening. I reserved a table for 3 for 8 o'clock. The name is Wild.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Wild. W-I-L-D.
Ah, yes, Miss Wilde. The table by the window. Would you like to come this way?
Okay, so after listening, you know that number 1 is the car rental company. And number 2 is the airport check-in counter. And number 3 is the restaurant. All right, so now we know what we are listening to. We will listen again, and we will find out their names. So under the picture, you can write their names. This is their family name, their reservation name. Okay, so let's listen again.
Track 8. Module 1.7, Conversation 1.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
I reserved a car for 5 days. My name is Yamada.
I'm sorry. How do you spell that?
Yamada.
Yes, that's fine, Mr. Yamada. May I see your driver's license, please?
Yes, here it is.
Conversation 2.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I have a reservation on flight X302 to Paris.
May I have your name, please?
Fratelli. Elsa Fratelli.
Is that F-R-A-T-E-L-L-I?
Yes, that's right.
Fine. May I see your passport and ticket, please?
Here you are.
Conversation 3.
Good evening. I reserved a table for 3 for 8 o'clock. The name is Wilde.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Wilde. W-I-L-D-E.
Ah, yes, Miss Wilde. The table by the window. Would you like to come this way?
Okay, so now we have listened. Number 1, the car rental office. What is his name? His name is Yamada. Y-A-M-A-D-A. Yamada, or Yamada, as the staff says, Yamada. Number 2, Fratelli. Her name is Fratelli. F-R-A-T-E-L-L-I. Fratelli. And finally, number 3, she is at the restaurant. Wilde. W-I-L-D-E. Without the E, that would be a different wild, like a wild animal. But Wilde family name usually has an E at the end. Great. So there are 3 people checking in. On the next page, we have an example, a longer conversation of somebody checking in. So now we are on page 8, and we can see this gentleman. What's happening here? I see what's happening here. He is checking in. Of course, he's at a hotel. Is he the customer or is he the staff? Just in the corner, I think I can see a computer screen, so his face is the customer, I think. Okay, so we have some vocabulary before we look at the conversation. We have reservation, which is a noun. The verb is to reserve. Then we have to fill out, which is an action. A verb, fill out. It is a 2-word verb. To fill out, it means to complete, to write information. So fill out a form or fill out a card. If you remember from the first video clip of Mr. Bean, he was filling out the check-in card. Next, we have key card, which is what is being handed to him. And finally, elevator. Why is the word elevator here? Well, where I'm from, we call it a, do you know? Lift. We take a lift to go up the different floors. But in American English, it is elevator. All right, so now we have that vocabulary. Let's have a look at the conversation. So here we can see the conversation. The words in blue can be changed later, but let's have a listen to the conversation first. We'll just listen to the people talk.
Track 9. Module 1.8.
Good evening.
Good evening. I have a reservation for one night. My name's Singh. Sanjay Singh.
Could you spell that, please?
S-I-N-G-H. Sanjay is S-A-N-J-A-Y.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Could you fill out this card, please?
Yes. Here you are.
Thank you. Here's your key card.
Thank you.
The elevators are over there.
Right. Thank you very much.
Have a pleasant stay.
Thanks.
Great. So what time is it? It is evening time. It's a late check-in. Okay. What information do we have? We have a name. Singh. Sanjay Singh. How do you spell that? S-I-N-G-H. Sanjay is S-A-N-J-A-Y. So here we can see an example where the customer actually offers the spelling of his given name. Sanjay is perhaps not that familiar to some people. Sing, definitely. I would not guess how to spell that. Like sing a song, I would not know there was an H at the end. So there is the conversation. I will read it for you one more time. Good evening. Good evening. I have a reservation for one night. My name's Singh, Sanjay Singh. Could you spell that, please? S-I-N-G-H. Sanjay is S-A-N-J-A-Y. Thank you, Mr. Singh. Could you fill out this card, please? Yes. Here you are. Thank you. Here is your key card. Thank you. The elevators are over there. Right. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant stay. Thanks. And that's the end of the conversation. So the words in blue, as we said, can be changed. So what if I was the person checking in? And perhaps I'm staying for 2 nights because it's a long weekend. And I want to make the most of my stay, so I'm checking in at 3 p.m., which would be afternoon. Okay, let's begin. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a reservation for 2 nights. My name's Horton, Andrew Horton. Could you spell that, please? H-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. Andrew is A-N-D-R-E-W. Thank you, Mr. Horton. Could you fill out this card, please? Yes. Here you are. Thank you. Here is your key card. Thank you. The elevators are over there. Right. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant stay. Thanks. Okay, so I'm sure you're really excited to practice this conversation using perhaps a different time of day. Maybe you want to stay for 6 nights or a week, 7 nights. Practice using your own details, your own name. Remember, it's family name, given name, family name. And then we spell our family name. And in this example, we then spell our given name too. All right. Have a practice using this conversation. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the last page, page 9. Here again, we have another conversation. This time, it is a telephone conversation. So in every unit, there will be on the last activity, well, almost the last activity, but at the end of the unit, there is on the phone, a telephone conversation. So I'm sure you're aware that face-to-face conversations and telephone conversations are not quite the same. Actually, telephone conversations can be quite a lot harder. As I have experienced being in Korea, telephone conversations are much harder than face-to-face. My Korean is not very good. 조금 공부했어요. A little bit studied, but I'm very nervous speaking on the phone. So one thing I know is how important it can be to practice a telephone conversation. So every unit will include a telephone conversation. There are usually blanks that you need to fill in. Here, there are 4 missing words. Let's have a listen. Well, first, let's read the conversation. Then we can listen and fill in the blanks. So it goes like this. Bring, 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 bring. Good morning, Vector Plastics. How can I... You. I'd like to... James Wilson, please. Your name, please? Jung, Ji-hee Jung. Just one moment, please. I'll put you... Thank you. Hello? James Wilson. Oh, hi, James. It's Ji-hee Jung. Hi, Ji-hee. How are you? Fine, thanks. So actually, there are 3 people talking here. Who are they? Well, one of them is Ji-hee Jung. Another is James Wilson. But who's the third person? Well, it's A. A is the first person to answer the phone. This could be a secretary. This could be a receptionist. It could just be anybody working in the company who hears the phone ringing. Okay, so let's have a listen, and then we can fill in the blanks.
Track 10. Module 1.9.
Good morning, Vector Plastics. How can I help you?
I'd like to speak to James Wilson, please.
Your name, please?
Ji-hee Jung.
Just one moment, please. I'll put you through.
Thank you.
Hello, James Wilson speaking.
Oh, hi, James. It's Ji-hee Jung.
Hi, Ji-hee. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Very good. So number 1 is help. Good morning, Vector Plastics. How can I help you? I'd like to. Number 2, speak to James Wilson, please. I would like to speak to James Wilson, please. And then the secretary asks, your name, please? Or could you tell me your name, please? Jung, Ji-hee Jung. Again, family name first, given name, family name. Just one moment, please. I'll put you through. Through meaning I will connect you. I'll put you through. It means I will connect you. Thank you. And then we get the third person. Hello, James Wilson. Speaking. Number 4, speaking. Hello, James Wilson speaking. Oh, hi, James. It's Ji-hee Jung. Hi, Ji-hee. How are you? Fine, thanks. So again, we have the words in blue. They can be changed. First, we have the company name. Then we have the person that B would like to talk to. And then we have your name. What is your name? Jung Ji-hee Jung, Horton Andrew Horton, Kim Yona Kim. Who are you? So you can change those details and practice the conversation as many times as you like. So change the company name, Vector Plastics. You could say Samsung, ABC Shoes, Home Plus Supermarket, anything you like. And then, who do you want to talk to? And what is your name? Okay, good luck. This is the last activity, so practice hard. The last bit of information is something called Culture Corner. These are some extra bits of information that we can use just to learn a little bit more about the global cultures. So, in Korea, many people have a nickname. Is that true or false? So, I can tell you from my experience of England, being in the UK, many people have a nickname is true. That is true. So, the simplest example is a shortened name. So, my name is Andrew. My friends in school, elementary school, middle school, high school, would call me Andy. Sometimes Andrew is Drew. So Andrew can be Andy, Drew, and even, right? Some people use the family name as a nickname. Hort, Hortz. What's up, Hortz? Right? Hi, Andy. Other times, a nickname can just be a random word that somehow gets connected to you, so people call you that instead of your name. That can also be a nickname. How about number 2? People usually have one or more middle names. I'm not sure about middle names in Korea, but in especially British English cultures, the middle name is very common. And to have more than one middle name is sometimes true. My middle name is Michael. So my full name actually, secret, Andrew Michael Horton. The origin of my middle name, Michael, is it's my father's name. So my father is Michael Horton. So there you go. We pass on the father's name often to the middle name of the child. Or actually, if it's a daughter, it could be the mother's name. But as I'm male, it makes sense to have my father's name. Otherwise, I would be Andrew Janice Horton, which would be strange. So there we go. Middle names are very common for English people, British people. Number 3, people never change their family name. Well, I'm sure it could happen in Korea. You can tell me. But in the UK, it is often true for women when they get married. It is less common, right? Traditions are changing, but definitely my mother, when she married, she changed her family name, sometimes called maiden name, before marriage name. So after marriage, my mother became Mrs. Horton. That these days, that is less common, maybe more like Korean style, where the woman's name never changes. But a lot of people, a lot of women do change their family name. Number 4, business people sometimes call customers by their first names. Number 4, business people sometimes call customers by their first names. Well, sometimes is true, sometimes. Depends on how comfortable, how long you've worked together, how long you have been customers or co-workers. Same with number 5, business people usually call co-workers by their job titles. Sure, we say yes, boss, yes, manager, but generally it's their name. To be formal, we would say Mr. or Ms. or Miss or Mrs. with their family name. Generally, we call people by their name, not their job title. We wouldn't say, yes, supervisor. We'd say, yes, Mr. Smith, or yes, Supervisor Smith, possibly. Okay, so there is a little bit of cultural information. That wraps up Unit 1. We have to talk a little bit more about Flipgrid and the Google quiz, but I will record that in a separate video. This week there is no homework, but I have created a welcome Flipgrid video where you can practice logging in, practice watching my video, and you will click the reply button and you will answer 3 of my questions. There's no grade, just try to have fun, record your video, put some emojis, okay? And there's also a link to an example Google quiz because I would like to know, maybe quiz is the wrong word. There are questions, but it's more, I want to know your name spelling. I would like to know your student number. So later on, I can find your attendance and homework, things like that. And I would also like to know what email address you use so that I can email you if I need to send you a file, or if I need to search for your homework again, your email address might help me. Okay, so have a look at the e-learning site, or maybe there's a link in the description here for this YouTube video, and go to flipgrid.com, and in that video there is another link that will take you to a Google quiz, or a Google form, I should say. All right, well, this has been a long video. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been useful, interesting, educational is the main goal. Thank you very much. See you again in the next video. Bye-bye.